Hey, I'm Dr. Ruth Roberts, the original holistic pet health coach, and with me today is Marquetta Jefferson, one of our certified holistic pet health coaches. And I'm very excited for you to meet her because she has a remarkable set of credentials in terms of what she's been doing, what she's been able to support her pet parents with. She was a uh, certified groomer, massage therapist. What else do you do, Marquetta? I mean, you're doing amazing stuff for these guys, aside from being a holistic pet health coach and a certified holistic pet health coach. Marquetta is originally from Czech Republic. She's been living in US and working in US for quite some time. So that was a not enough introduction, but I know apologies. I saw it earlier and I can't find the other thing that you have credentialing in, which is amazing.
CPR too.
That's helpful. Yeah, because that's the thing. I think emergency care, that's not something we're accustomed to really thinking about for our pets. How did you get interested in doing all of the things that you're doing in terms of starting with the grooming and then massage
Right.
therapy?
First of all, I want to say hello to everybody. Thank you so much for enjoying us, and I'm glad and honored to be here with Dr. Ruth. I met you in Chicago, and I had a blast, and it totally changed my view on all of this. And I think I became more passionate into this field that never ever again. And the drive is just amazing. Um, yeah, some people ask me, what didn't you do yet? I just love to learn, really. I just cannot stop. My brain is on a go 24/7. And I really try to do everything just to cover the bills and, live the American dream. And I am originally a teacher. I'm an artist. I illustrated children's books, you name it. I just love it all. And there is not 1 minute that I get bored because I jump from hobby to hobby and hardly get some sleep because it's just really crazy. But the most passionate about I am dogs. I cannot describe the feeling what I have when I am in a room with a dog. And now I have to add cats. I did not like cats, but somehow we end up rescuing little kitten, and it was supposed to be foster, and the foster was foster failure. And my son was like, okay, mom, and that little kitten needs a friend. And then there was one more, and then everybody knows, excuse me, my story about my Sphinx that suffer from FIP, and it was a really, really long journey. And that journey really switched a lot of things in mind to put myself on path. Do not give up. Do not give up on anything that you do. Believe in yourself and ask questions. Don't be shy, to ask questions. And I find out in my daily life when I talk to my clients, people just don't know certain things. And I love just to talk to everybody and first of all, learn from them on daily basis. And I can offer it back. They learn from me. And sometimes what we think it's like so obvious, it's really not obvious for pet parents. And when I started your course, boy, there are so many things to learn and to share. And it just doesn't stop. It's like I was up at 4 o'clock in the morning and was like, okay, you know what? This is great too. And there's not the 1 hour today is not enough just to share everything. And I'm so far from being expert. There's just so much more that nobody is telling us lately. And it needs to get out there. We need to be heard, and we need to change few things in this pet industry.
And that is the absolute truth. And I think, the big reason I started this program to train people to be holistic pet health coaches is because access to care, whether it's conventional care or holistic care with veterinarians, is so limited. And my goal was to help educate a group of people so that you in turn could educate the pet parents and get the information out there. And what you all are accomplishing is off the hook amazing. So, thank you for all that you do. I mean, the knowledge that you demonstrated during the course, during the coaching calls, and afterwards has just been amazing. And I think that's it. You come with so much passion, so much determination to make things better for pets, and it really shows up in how you approach things.
Yeah, no,
So,
definitely. Thank you. And sorry to interrupt you again. I think
mm,
the biggest thing on the course, because I have seen so many cases with the dogs, and I really was sad because the, nothing was changing. It was the same circle. And then when I finished the course, I was confident to start to do something. And the changes that happened since, my school end, it's amazing. I mean, these people that, had dogs with skin infection, vomiting, chewing the paws to blood, and the frustration of the owners and the bills from the veterinarians. And, one lady wanted to give up the dog because she couldn't keep up financially and she was just out of solutions. And I said, okay, I'm just really starting. Let me try this. Amazing. Because of your diet, the crack fed diet, as simple as, going to the food and going to the beginning of the gut and just following. 4 months later, this dog is unbelievable. And this lady hugs me every time I come to groom the dog. And she's so grateful. And she didn't really spend a lot of money. It was just a simple fix with food and supplements.
and that's ridiculous, right? How
Yeah,
long did
I
it
don't
take her to
understand.
see this change in her
So,
dog?
what I say to my clients now, it's not like you go to the veterinarian and you get temporary fix the second day. We go to veterinarian to have these temporary fixes, antibiotics, all this stuff, and you see the change. But the problem is, a month later, it's back in the circle. So when I tell my clients, this is what we can do, it's not going to be one night or 1 week cure. We have to really start from A to Z and follow through. You will start to see the changes within 3 weeks. And it does really work. It's amazing. And when they know that, hey, listen, I'm calling next week and nothing is changing, next week it's like nothing compared to the whole lifespan. So I see these changes after 3 weeks, and now have doing these diets and supplements and totally changing. These dogs change personality and a totally completely different dog. And I can see both sides now because I have two dogs. One is they both have Cushing disease. One is my client. The other one has a regular veterinary approach. What a difference. Unbelievable. Like,
It's crazy.
it's crazy. So thank you
But
for
that's
everything you do.
Oh, no, it is completely my pleasure, and that's kind of the point, is that we can do amazing things simply by making simple changes with the food. And and that's part of what we're here to talk about today is food and holidays and all of that stuff. So when we love to eat all this crazy stuff during holidays, but some of it is maybe not so good for our pets. So if folks are starting to think about that, and what are the things that you feel like are the most worrisome for pups, for kitties?
I think a lot of stuff people don't know about. And when let's just imagine we have that Thanksgiving table. We don't have Thanksgiving in Czech Republic. So when I came here, I was like, "Oh, what are you doing? Eat turkey, stuffing and stuff like that. Oh, okay. Why? It took me a while to understand, especially when I come from communist country and there was like a piece of meat. It was a holiday for me, So
Yes,
I see
yes.
these like overeating and I'm like, okay, let's do this. So let's just imagine we have the holiday dinner and let's talk about what's good and what's not good for your dogs. Um, you have that big turkey, right? Looks great. Oh my God, the dog is drooling. So what we can give to the dog while he's drooling and watching us, what's gonna, fall over the table. Safe, the meat without the skin. Skin is good if it's cooked normally, like if it's, but because we put so much seasoning and so much stuff on the skin, it's not good at that moment. So when we're looking at the turkey, the meat, just the plain meat, is great. Bones are a big no-no. Cooked bones are not good at all because dog has a really hard time digesting the bone, and they can really shatter and definitely make a damage to your intestines. So that's a big no-no. Raw bones, on the other hand, as we are talking about bones, are really great for dogs. I know a lot of people ask me, what do I do with the dog teeth? What do I do with the treat? Raw bones in small dosage for a few minutes, a few times a week, are a great source for cleaning the teeth, because we're talking about animals, they chew bones. You have to make something happen, otherwise the teeth will be useless. So that's when the bone is great, but not cooked. What else we have on the table? We have gravy. Not great because it has a lot of sodium. We don't want to really feed the dog with that. Stuffing. Oh my God, love stuffing. Don't give it to your dog. So much seasoning, onions, not good. What else we have? Sweet potatoes. Great. Love them. Sweet potatoes are really good. When actually you are cooking for Thanksgiving dinner, as I'm saying, sweet potatoes are good. Again, you have to watch, because when you are making the sweet potatoes, you're putting sugar, you're putting all the seasoning. So that's what's different. But if you are talking like food, sweet potatoes are great. Broccoli is amazing for dogs. Celery is great. Spinach is great. Carrots, great. Some dogs will spit it out, like my little dog. Like, no, I'm not eating this one. Do something better, mama. So,
Yeah.
Believe it or not, mushrooms. Mushrooms are so good for us and so great for dogs. You have to know what mushrooms, though. And I always tell this story. Us growing in Czech Republic, we would go every weekend in the fall to the woods, to the forest, and pick mushrooms. Oh my God, it was like the biggest game in the family. Who can actually pick up the most and find the most mushrooms? And then the whole weekend, we were drying, we were marinating, we were eating. I mean, at the end of the season, I was like, if I see one more mushroom in my life, I'm going to kill you, Dad. It was amazing. And recent studies actually are saying, if you add mushrooms into your diet, you're prolonging your life of 7 years. That's amazing. And
astonishing.
It's crazy. And I went to upstate New York, and I went to the woods. And for the first time after so many years, I saw mushrooms. And I'm like, oh my God, I feel like I'm in Czech. So I took my shirt, I started to put the mushrooms in, and me and my son went inside and we started to cook it. And now I can see everybody just watching me. It's like, what is she doing? And I'm like, I'm making myself dinner. And I ate it. Nobody else touched it. They had such a fear of like, oh my God, you're poisoning yourself. Don't eat it. And they literally wait till the morning if I'm alive. And when I went with a smile, I said, come on, I will make more. They still didn't eat it. So take that myth away. If you know what mushrooms are great for you, please add them to your daily food. Because sometimes I feel like I'm talking to the dog and I'm talking to you. Because a lot of times all this stuff, what's good for us, is good for the dogs too. So definitely adding mushrooms. Shiitake mushrooms are great. Lion mane, great. I love mushrooms. If you know how to prepare them really good, great. When you add them to your dog's diet, make sure you cook them, because they are better to be digested when they are cooked, slow cooking for a little longer. So definitely that's good.
And the other thing is to release the medicinal compounds, you have to cook them.
Yeah.
So, and Maggie, one of our colleagues, is like, she's really glad you survived the wild mushrooms. But that's the thing. I think that in the United States, we don't have that tradition of foraging for mushrooms. And unfortunately, we have the idea that you can grab the wrong ones and kill yourself, which is
Right.
possible.
Yeah,
But
you have
if,
to,
but if your family has done this for generations,
yeah,
you
you have
you
to do the
know.
studies. This is how I grew up. Literally every weekend we would live in the forest in the little cottage. And my mom said, bye-bye, come home for lunch. Then bye-bye, come home for dinner. So the snack time was we went to the woods, we had blueberries, we had cranberries, we were, just whatever the nature gave us. And that's how it started too. It's like my mom, even my grandma, that's how it really started. And I'm just like realizing it now. My mom said, okay, get this and this, we're gonna make honey. I'm like, okay, and then he was like, oh, get the dandelions. I'm like, Mom, you would cook all this is like, and now it's like yesterday I found some herbs in my garden. I was like, oh my God. And I'm telling my Lucas, was like, let's do this. I was like, Mom, really? And I felt like my mom. So definitely great. What else is good for the dogs? Honey. Honey is great too. Um, what's the honey called? What's the really great honey? Refresh my memory.
Manuka honey.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
that's a really great
Yes.
addition. Um, Eggs are really great for dogs too. I just talked to somebody and she says, I don't ever give egg to my. And the eggshell is a great source of calcium.
Exactly. And that's one of the things that's really cool that we forget about is basically a
Hmm.
free source of calcium.
Yes,
Right on.
definitely. What's dangerous during the holidays are definitely the sweets, any chocolate, pies, uh, and caffeine, alcohol, anything that has xylitol, the artificial sweetener, is really bad for the dogs. Onions, grapes, raisins, um, chocolate. You really have to be careful that the dog doesn't sneak anything out of the garbage when you're cleaning up. Or if your dog has a sensitive stomach, please tell your family, do not toss anything down because they probably don't know what's good for them, what's not good. I had a big barbecue party years ago, and I told, that time Grizzly was very sensitive. My little Pomeranian was very sensitive to anything he ate. And I told the people, please don't give him anything. We end up in ER because he managed to climb under the barbecue grill and lick the oil and everything that was under.
God.
Yeah, so that was a little expensive
Oh,
barbecue. So you have to really be careful. And I always say before the dinner, when you're getting down to have the dinner, make sure your dog eats first because then he's going to be full and he's not going to be drooling as you are trying to have a dinner. And some dogs have, no manners. They will jump on the table and steal the turkey. So you just really want to take care of your dog before the dinner. You want to kind of exercise the dog before the dinner so the dog is tired. You want to take him for walks. You can give him some entertaining puzzles, dog puzzles. They have so many things now just to kind of occupy the dog. So you make him busy, like a small child. Figure something out before you sit down and you can have a peaceful dinner with your babies.
right on. And it's kind of crazy too. Like a lot of dogs will come in the dining room with us, and then you have to watch your grandparents and make sure they're not slipping the dog something.
Yes, definitely. Uh,
So Elaine was actually asking a great question and about the cooked turkey bones to create a broth. What do you think about that?
I actually very big fan of bone broth lately. I started to make it for my customers, and bone broth is so beneficial to your dogs for so many reasons. First, great reason is when your dog is experiencing GI issues. Um, there's a reason why my grandma made the chicken noodle soup when we were sick, when we were little. So bone broth is great. It's also great as a joint supplement. It's just too many to list really. And I have great recipes for the bone broth. So it's really easy to make at home. I just find my butcher in my town, and I never actually went to anywhere to get the bones. And now I had to add freezers to my household because I am a crazy crackpot diet lady, and I have 5 animals, so there is not a day I do not cook, and now I cook for everybody. So I have 3 freezers, and I make the bone broth in a slow cooker or a big pot with water. With the bones, you add ginger, which is really great for GI issues also. Turmeric is amazing as an inflammatory. Parsley is great. And apple cider vinegar you add also to this. And when you cook the whole pot after a few hours, slow cooking is really, really, really important because it takes the less of nutrients out of anything that you cook. So don't try to cheat and cook it quickly just to save time. No, you are trying to put the most nutrients into your dog's body and actually yours too. So when you cook it really slow for a few hours. And then I strain everything and I put the liquid into the glass containers. I freeze them. I label them with a date, what it is, because I make fish broth now. I make chicken broth. I make beef broth. I also make the whole organic chicken. What I do the chicken in the slow cooker. Listen, guys, if you don't understand me, my English, please get the Google Translator out.
Sometimes your English is fantastic.
Sometimes I don't understand myself. I'm like, what did I just say?
Yeah, I know. You're talking and it's like, what? Yeah, no, but your English is very good.
Okay,
no worry.
Thank you. I have my moments. So I do the whole chicken, and it's great because when I literally put the whole chicken, even with the liver, heart, everything inside, I cook it for hours with herbs, ginger, turmeric, parsley, apple cider vinegar. I put mushrooms in there, I put celery in there. And then when you finish, I strain everything, take the bones out of the chicken, toss it out, and the meat is so nice and great that I just pull it out, put it in the container, and I add it to the vegetables for my dogs and create that, crackpot recipe again. So it's really great. Do we see any other questions about the broth or anything?
Yeah, and so and Elaine, so if the bones have really been cooked, then really what they're good for at that point is making like a stock or something like that,
Yes.
because a lot of the nutrients have come out. But yeah, so I mean that's the thing. That's what I used to do is we would make a chicken and then take the bones and whatever bits we didn't eat and then just make a broth or a stock from it. And that's kind of the difference with the bone broth. It's a very long cooking process because you're trying to extract minerals and that sort of stuff. And one of the things that's interesting, Elaine, is that if your pet has allergies, sometimes bone broth can create a little histaminic, like a histamine reaction. So that's where a broth or a stock would be a better choice for your pup. But yeah, I mean, whatever you don't eat on the turkey, you throw it all in another pot and make soup.
Definitely. Yeah. I even speaking about ham. So pork is great for dogs. There's a myth that your dog should not really eat pork. No, not really. I hope you agree, Dr. Ruth.
Yes, I do.
Thank you. So pork is great. It has high fat, high protein. That's what your dog need to eat. Then you have a ham for Thanksgiving or Easter. It's very salty, sodium filled. That's what you want to stay away from, the sodium filled, because that's not really great for the dogs. But pork is great for the dogs. And when I do ham, I take the bone and I make a soup the next day. I love that too. So,
Yeah, right on. Has great
mhm.
seasoning,
Yes,
right? And
definitely.
so, and Canine Fitness Works is asking about cooking time. So for a stock, you may cook for 2 hours, but for bone broth, are you cooking for 24 hours or more? Or
So, everybody says really different timing on it. I definitely do 12 hours minimum. I know Dr. Judy Morgan likes to do it for 24 hours, but again, it depends how low the heat is. Because if it's a higher heat, of course you do it only for 12 hours. If it's a low, yes, it takes longer time to get the nutrients out from the bone. So it depends how you cook it, where you cook it, and what amount you cook it. So I think
right
that
on.
hopefully that helped your question.
Yeah. And I think you gotta try it a time or two, and then you'll figure out with the cooker you've got and all of that
Mhm.
stuff, you'll figure out what the right time period is.
Yeah, I have three different slow cookers, and every cooker is different. So you really have
Yes.
to try. And now I have it down, so I know exactly how many hours to. And I am creating treats for dogs for my clients that I groom, and I'm taking out the samples. And the dogs are running to my truck now because they know they're gonna get nice jerky. Uh, so I'm creating dehydrated snacks for dogs, and actually my cat started to eat like crazy the sardines I create. So yeah,
Beautiful.
it yeah, it was beautiful this morning when I woke up and this fish of a smell bombarded me. The second I came home, I was like, yeah, I forgot I had my sardines there for 10 hours in the dehydrator.
Mm, yes.
But
Ah,
these one ingredient snacks are really great for your dogs. And when you are buying treats for your dogs, please be very careful to stay away with all the cheap jerkies that come from China, all these trees that they have BHA and BHT in them. It's really not great when you flip and look at the ingredients. Be very careful to read the labels, the ingredients. You want to stay away from the meal kind of content, like when it's a chicken meal. What's chicken meal? It's nothing. It's really nothing.
it's
So
scary.
yes. So
Sometimes it's chicken, but sometimes it's like,
yeah, we really don't know what they put there. I was very disappointed. I went to meet up with the company, and because I was researching on the beef jerky, and they sold me a sample. So I'm like, oh my God, this is great. I'm investigating. And then they just package it in upstate. And the original jerky comes from China. I'm like, come on,
yeah,
total disappointment.
yeah,
So you have
yeah.
to stay
It's
away because these treats really can cause GI issues, and sometimes issues will show up later than sooner.
so,
So
I think one of the things you're talking about here, I think is really important for people to understand. You're making treats, and we're thinking, oh my God, I don't even have enough time to cook for myself. But like if you're going to put a bunch of something in a dehydrator, how long does it take you to load that dehydrator?
it's really a matter of few minutes because you
Yeah.
can make so many different snacks. You can dehydrate everything. I'm finding that out that I can put mushrooms. It take me like so when you can dehydrate snacks in the regular oven. It's not that perfect as you have a dehydrator, but I have an oven with the air fryer, uh, bagel toasting, and some perfect. Like somebody thought about it, dehydrate settings. That's how I started to make these snacks because I was like, wow, what is this? So I did the beef, and it literally took me, beef is expensive. So if your dog is not sensitive to chicken, if you see that your dog is great with chicken, you can literally take the breast, you slice it a little bit, and you just dehydrate it for 145 for 8 hours. And they love these snacks. And The best part is you know what you are giving to your dog. You are the one who sees the food, who handles the food, he prepares the food, and it ends up being so cheaper than all these snacks that you can get, and you don't know what's in them
Right.
really.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, even for the ones that are super high quality, they are hideously expensive. I mean, they're
Hmm.
like $30 for 4 ounces if if you sort of sort it back out. So maybe the package of something is 4 ounces and you will pay $15, but you could have done you could have bought the same amount of chicken or whatever is in the bag,
Hmm.
sliced it, and put it in the oven for maybe $4,
Right,
maybe, and then produced at least twice as much as you would have got in the bag. So you're not generating plastic, you're not generating fuel waste for shipping it across the country, and you can get your dog or your cat exactly what they want or exactly what they need.
right. I think it's all about our mindsets. We are so used to give our dogs the treats. And I talk to my clients, they was like, no, they love treats. I was like, okay, if you insist on giving the treats, let's minimize it to some amount, because I see a lot of obesity in dogs. So you just have to put your mind into totally different track, because the treat can be a good treat. A blueberry is a great treat. Watermelon is a great treat. If you have little cooked beef or chicken, you can keep it in the container as you cook for yourself. If you don't cook for yourself, just make an egg. Cook an egg, make it in little pieces, and every time when you think your dog wants a snack, open the fridge and just give them a little bit of a healthy snack. You don't have to go buy and spend so much money for this high processed food, treats that is really not good for your dog. And I'm telling you, all these dogs, that even my dogs, I have 5 animals, and the change in them since March, I put them on home cooked diet and totally eliminate all the treats from stores. They are thriving. Somebody just came to my house and couldn't recognize my little Pomeranian because he lost 2 pounds because I
Wow.
took away carbs and starches from his diet. And he was actually running. And, nobody ever saw this fat dog run. So it's a quite accomplishment. So it just, the same goes for us. We have to keep exercising, emotional peace, and we are what we eat. It goes same for the dog. And you don't want to poison your body, you don't want to poison your dog. And we can definitely talk about this for hours and hours, but you can
Yes, and
control what
indeed we
you
have.
put. Yes, but you can definitely be in control what you give to your dog, what you feed your dog. And there are so many books now, so many YouTube's videos. Everything goes down the gut. And Dr. Ruth Roberts is an amazing website with so many blogs and videos and books and supplements, just to show you how you can feed your dogs better. And even if you don't have the time to cook and spend the time, you can just add some toppers. Like when you have now Thanksgiving dinner and you are cooking, you can add the bone broth to the kibble that you're feeding your dog. And what you're adding is the moisture, which is very important to your dog's diet. You adding minerals, vitamins, joint supplements, and it's all natural. So as you're cooking that one time for Thanksgiving, keep little containers, glass, whatever you want to store it at, whatever you can store it at. Put it in the little bags and put it in the freezer, and these can become your toppers. And you have to be just very careful when you are introducing new food, new snacks, new things to your dog, because if your dog is used to the same exact food, uh, whatever you keeping him now, that, let's be real, the dry kibble, anything you give the dog at that moment really might start the GI issues. Because if I eat Cheerios every day and you give me a piece of chicken, whoo, I don't want to see what my stomach does with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so the same goes for your dog. So if you want to introduce totally new thing and start new, start very slow, low pieces. Find out what your dog likes, what dislikes, and then just, it doesn't have to happen overnight. Just every day is a new
A little.
day, and little by little, and you will accomplish a lot at the end.
Right on. And I think too, the other thing we think about, oh, we have to feed these dogs protein. They need vegetables too. But
Right.
again, if you're eating Cheerios and then all of a sudden you eat a cup of beans, it's not very comfortable because when we introduce a lot of fiber, the bacteria get super happy and they can produce a lot of gas. So you can add a couple of tablespoons for a a medium-sized dog of vegetables to their food with the broth to help improve the kibble and kind of work from there. So I think you've got broccoli you've cooked for Thanksgiving, you can add a little bit for your dogs to your dog's food, or a little bit of sweet potato, something like that.
Right. And there are a
So
lot of companies now, they sell the toppers. They actually,
yeah.
you can see a lot. Just so do your research, where they get it from, what the ingredients are, that it's, based in USA, and just do a little research, be open to it. Because what happens when you start to introduce new foods to your dog, you really starting to build the immune system, the diversity of the food will make amazing difference. And that's what happened with my grizzly, with my Palm. If you give him anything 4 years ago, he would be sick, had to go to the hospital, such a sensitive stomach. Now, because I cook all the time, I'm dropping everything, all the veggies, all the meat, everything goes down, and they are like sharks just waiting for a drop. And no GI issues since I started to do this. So rotation of these snacks and food and adding the right supplements, it's gonna really make a difference, and it will save you a lot of money when you go to the next visit to your vet.
That's exactly it. So Elaine's asking, what do blueberries feed yeast? And I am glad you asked this, Elaine, because I think this is a big misconception. Yeast is a secondary invader. It's not the primary cause of things. And indeed, if you've got a dog with itchy skin, that kind of stuff with, a dog that we may consider has candida or some sort of yeast infection in the gut, this is the big thing to worry about. But what it really means is that there is something out of balance in the whole immune system. Now, blueberries, and you also asked about cranberries, happen to be very low glycemic, meaning that they have and low glycemic impact, meaning that they are low in sugar and they don't spike blood sugar. And so when we've got a dog that we're trying to calm down this bacterial and yeast imbalance, this is where if we take carbohydrates out of the diet, meaning, and what I mean by carbohydrates is starchy carbs, so rices, potatoes, that sort of stuff, this is where we can help that gut start to come back into balance. But
Yes,
it's, I think that's critical to understand.
yeah, the yeasty foods, you have the sugar, the honey, the corn syrup, lentils, chickpeas, sweet potatoes, stuff like that will, add to the yeast on the dog. But it's definitely important to get to the base of it. Why is the dog having, difficulties with that from the beginning?
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
definitely. All right,
Yeah.
what didn't we talk about yet?
So what if a dog is like your grizzly and crawls under the grill and eats the grease or gets into the trash? What are the signs and symptoms that the pet parent should watch for if their pet accidentally eats something harmful?
If that happens, and it does happen a lot, I used to work in an animal hospital. So any Halloween, Thanksgiving, uh, Christmas Day, Christmas Eve, we had the most visits after emergencies were filled with accidentally eating the Halloween candy and stuff like that. So the first thing when you see your dog and think something happened, you will definitely notice that there is a diarrhea, there's vomiting. Your dog can be lethargic. I always look at my dogs. I see the sad little eyes telling me like, I don't feel good and I'm not sure what it is, and they cannot explain it to you. But as soon as you see diarrhea, you have to really check how serious this is. If you see any blood, it's a definitely vet visit. If you see vomiting and it's bile and the dog looks dehydrated, lethargic, definitely I would recommend the vet. When you see there's a little stuff going on, you can see 1-2 days how the dog is feeling. I can recommend pumpkin. If you see that there is any GI distress, I would definitely add a little pumpkin into the dog's diet. You don't have to force the dog to eat. It's okay to kind of detox from whatever dog is eating. Just add water. That's really important. And add little pumpkin to cure the diarrhea or vomit. If it doesn't stop, of course, it can be more serious than that. There are little tricks. What I do with, and I recommend adding ginger to diet. The bone broth is really great. But sometimes the dog won't eat at all. Like you will not get anything in the dog and you can see that there's something serious going on. So please, yes, you need to visit the veterinarian. But we have some great stuff like slippery elm powder. It's really great for dogs. Adding to the food usually helps the digestion and gets it back on track. The marshmallow root powder is great. Activated charcoal, but these might be the things that you're like, what is she saying? So you are more than welcome to email me and we can have a little chat about that. But definitely, if you see any blood, if you see nonstop vomiting, the yellowish kind of bile coming out, just make sure that you visit your veterinarian. You don't know if the dog chew on a bone, it can be really dangerous and deadly. If that bone gets stuck, if rupture intestines, you need to see veterinarian emergency immediately.
Right on. And that's definitely where things can be problematic in a hurry. So, you mentioned it, and I think those things that you mentioned, that's definitely a good idea to have those things available as an emergency kit. So you can reach out to Marketa at the pausebalance.com website, and here's her listing on our website. And Elaine, I mean, this is the perfect question because you just lobbed us a softball. Thank you. So this is part of what Marketa is trained to do. We use the Glacier Peaks Holistics food pet wellness scan, which is an at-home test, hair and saliva. You can, the test itself is relatively inexpensive. It's $129. Reach out to Marketa. She can get you connected with one and then do a consult with her. And then she can help you figure out what foods your pet may be sensitive to and how to pull those out of the diet and then design diets that will help the gut heal. So this is the thing. It's tough. We tested this particular test against, and when I was in brick and mortar practice, I tested it against the NutriScan test. I tested it against the allergy company's blood tests and several others. And Glacier Peaks keeps coming up being extremely reliable. All of them will show you false positives and all of them will show you false negatives, meaning it'll tell you something your dog is sensitive to and it's not, and it'll tell you your dog is not sensitive to something and it may be. But this is something that happens rarely. And I think for the value that this test provides and the cost, to me, it's one of the most accurate. So that is a perfect example. It sounds like you've been asking about yeast and some other things and allergies. Dysbiosis or leaky gut is the number one cause of allergies. And so this is something Marquetta shines at being able to help you sort through.
I love these tests. I was a little skeptic about them because I wasn't sure why didn't I get this test when I was working in an animal hospital. I really didn't understand that, why they didn't offer it. So when I started to do these tests, first I didn't offer. I wanted to really go through, when you contact me, I will go through everything. We have a form that you fill out, and I will see all the medication you have, all the supplements, what you're feeding your dog. I literally analyze the whole thing. So I start to eliminate what I think is happening with your dog based on your issues. The most issues what I get are skin issues, allergy issues, because I work as a groomer, mobile groomer, so I see it all on the truck. So to save everybody's time, when I kind of see that there's so many things that your dog can be sensitive to, I pull up this test, and there's no beating to it. Like 129 this test, and I did 20 of them so far, and every test is so different, and it makes so much sense when I create the Crockpet diet by Dr. Ruth. I take all whatever the dog is great with, and the diet is definitely great because it's balanced. One thing that, people say, oh, I cook for my dog. I says, okay, what do you cook? Oh, chicken and rice, and sometimes I do spinach. I was like, yeah, okay. So when you cook for your dog, it's really important to balance everything, because if you don't balance the nutrition, it's going to affect your dog in the future. The nutritions that you are not giving the dog now will become a problem later in the life. So when you start to cook, you really want to have balanced food. And Dr. Ruth, there is a reason why she says 4 cups of this vegetables, 4 cups of this, 6 tablespoons of oil. So I take all the test results and I combine it and I make the recipe for your dog. If you are willing to cook, if you are not willing to cook, of course, there are other recipes, or there's a home delivery. There's so many options really these days I can offer. But this test will show you exactly what to do. And within 3 weeks, you see such a difference. It's amazing. So instead of eliminating, saying, I think it might be the chicken, I think it might be the egg I give him sometimes, just do the test, 129. It's easy and you will know right away. I did a test on a Shih Tzu, and the lady tried 7 different diets, trying from kibble to vet to this. Every time the dog gets GI issues, diarrhea, vomiting, she ran to the vet. Oh my God, I don't know what to do. He's, vomiting again. The vet says, okay, just do chicken and rice for 4 days and the dog will be fine. Oh my God, 2 years, this whole circle, costing a lot of money, putting the dog on Apoquel, Cito points. It will clear for a little bit. Then everything goes back to the cycle. So I says, let me do the test. Amazing. The dog was sensitive to chicken and rice. So every time when and eggs and whatever she thinks she's eating, like she's giving him a healthy treat, the dog was, another client now I have, oh my God, my baby is sensitive to strawberries. That's the best treat we give them. And you think you're doing so great, but why is the dog swollen? And it's frustrating when they, chew on the paws and they are just miserable, and then you are miserable and you think you're trying everything. And this simple test or just analyzing your recipe can definitely put you on the right track and save you a lot of money.
Right on. Beautifully said. Marquetta, thank you so much for spending time today. This has been fun. And I think we got Elaine some information, so she knows kind of the direction to head. But yeah, I think this test is really invaluable and super helpful. And then that's the thing, is that you get the test results, and then you have someone like Marquetta who can help you figure out what to do with them. And I think that's even more critical, and walk you through how to deal with things that you may have to pivot on coming up. So for everybody that came in to visit today. So glad that you're able to spend some time with us. Marketa, thank you so much.
Thank
And we
you.
talked about too, so if you would explain maybe a little bit in Czech for people that are native Czech speakers, a little bit about what you do as we close up, that would be amazing. It's hard to switch, right?
Yes. A jsem strašně ráda, že jste tady byli. Kdokoliv mi rozumí teď a mluví česky, tak vám děkuji, že jste se na mě dívali. A musíme začít našim zvířátkám dávat to, co potřebují správného k životu. A určitě začneme jídlem. A wow, this is hard.
It is hard.
Years, you forgot that, hey, listen, there's another Czech language. So I actually speak Czechlish, I call it now. It's a Czechlish.
Czechlish, yes.
But
understood.
Yeah, thank you so much, everybody. Děkuji vám moc. It was absolutely awesome. Thank you, Dr. Ruth, for having me. And if anybody has questions, please email me, contact me through my website. I am whoever can email me today. I have an ebook with really simple recipes for the holidays. Dr. Ruth has one great recipe that is non-baked, non-cooked, nothing. You can just literally throw it in the bowl and put it in the freezer or fridge and feed it to your dog. So they are very easy recipes. So just email me for more information. I will be more than happy to share everything with you.
Beautiful. Thank you. All right, you all, we'll see you next week with more fun stuff.
I hope